Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, I don't know what happens to me, but I've literally been preparing for this live for about 3 hours, if not more, and I'm still not quite ready. So as we're speaking, I am touching up my nail varnish because I like my nails to look nice, and they were a bit chipped. So what we're going to talk about in this video, of course, is Fiona Pender. So, yesterday I started talking about this island's Vanishing Triangle and these cases, a lot of cases that I'd never heard of, that are like infamous missing persons cases in Ireland. And we're going to talk about another one today. I'm going to go through all these cases of these missing women because they deserve it. And then, of course, like in this one, as I'm talking about this, it brings up something else. It's unfortunately, it is a never-ending list of stories of people whose cases need highlighting. These are all women in Ireland, but of course, there are lots of cases that need highlighting, missing people, men, women, children. I can only do one at a time, and so sometimes it overwhelms me a little bit because I want to talk about all of them, all of the people that deserve being talked about and deserve having their cases highlighted. But I have to accept my own limitations, which is I can only do really maximum 2 videos a day, 2 lives a day. I try and keep up with other videos as well, do extra videos here and there. But also in the meantime, I am a Spanish teacher and I do work to keep the wolf from the door. And, so that's important too, because that is my bread and butter, unfortunately, which is that it'd be nice to make a living off YouTube, contrary to what people believe, unless you're a massive channel, you don't. So that's as simple as that. If people, anyway, I'm not going to go into that, but people always think you're earning a fortune because you're on YouTube, but if only. But anyway, at the end of the day, I want to bring these cases, not a question of, I don't do cases just because I think, they'll help the algorithm or they'll get clicks. I do cases, talk about cases because I want these people to be, their story to be told, whether it's an unsolved case or a solved case. We can't just forget about people. It's important, and the family is, so it's never ending, is it? Anyway, I finished my nails at least. So I just want to warn you to start with, if you're one of my followers who doesn't like waffle, you might as well go and do something for about 10-15 minutes, because I'm going to have a little waffle to start with, because there's things that I need to tell you about before I get started with Fiona's case. And I hope you'll bear with me or go off and do something else if you don't want to hear the waffle. As I say, I know some of my followers like the waffle and some don't. So what's the first bit of waffle? Let me just it's a thank you, really. One of my members sent me a few photo things they'd put together. And one of them was this, the police person with the Vicky Marie chats on the back. And they sent me a few sort of things that they'd done on Photoshop. I really appreciate that. I really do. It's so nice that people are thinking about me, even when they're not watching a video. So I have added to it. I want to say thank you to that person. I won't mention them because some people don't always want their names mentioned or their handles mentioned. So it's up to them. If they come into chat and they want to say who they are, that's fine. But I don't like to highlight people unless, I know that they're comfortable with that. So then I thought, oh yeah, that's a good background. I'm going to add, I've added to it sort of like the subscribe button, like and share, notification bell. And of course, these are my Buy Me a Ko-fi, and there's a reason why I'm highlighting this, which I'll tell you in a minute. PayPal, and of course, to become a member. These are all the ways. Obviously, the best ways, if you like, and the free ways you can support my channel are just by subscribing, by liking and sharing. Make sure you press the notification bell, so then you get notifications of updates, etc., on cases. And then people sometimes go that little bit further. They buy me a Ko-fi. Also on my Ko-fi site, that's where there's a little bit of merch, which I'm trying to update, but I haven't got around to doing any yet. And it's Sunday already. Before you know it, it'll be Monday again. I was hoping to do that over the weekend, but I will get around to it. Poco a poco, bit by bit, I will get around to it. Sometimes people PayPal me, and they can do that by sending it to my Gmail if you're on PayPal and you want to PayPal me. And of course, you can become a member and join in the special members' lives on a Thursday. And also then you get to use the emojis, etc. And these are just extra ways you can help my channel. So I'm going to put those up. I don't know. Anyway, you can find them quite easily if you put in Ko-fi, Vicky Marie chats, PayPal. You've got the PayPal address there. But anyway, they're all on the description box under this video. Now, the reason I don't always highlight them as much as this, but if you've been on my Ko-fi page, you'll know I'm trying to get back on location again. I haven't been able to go on location again because my son is working and I have to take him to work. But anyway, to cut long story short, it seems like he's got regular days off now, and I know there's going to be 3-4 days a week, 3 days a week that I can get away on location. And so I'm hoping to be able to do some of that before it kicks into the season, because once it gets into July and August and the schools break up, it's difficult because everything's so much more expensive, so many more people everywhere. So I'm hoping to get in at least one location before the summer starts properly. And that costs money, and I've been doing like an appeal on my Ko-fi page, and Ko-fi goes from $3, £3, I'm not sure if it's pounds or euros. So anyone who can help, please help. If you want to see me go on location and go to some scenes, I've got a list. You can imagine, can't you? I've got a massive list of places that I want to go, and make some good videos for you and tell you about cases, and maybe get a chance to speak to people that are involved, etc., or not involved but that know something about it. We're there, so just to make some interesting footage. Really, that's what it's about. Just changes up the channel a bit, doesn't it? I want the channel to be interesting to people. So if you can help, please help. Of course, some people also sometimes send super stickers, etc. So thank you for all that. But as I say, most important way you can help, which is completely free of charge, and no times are hard at the moment, is just by liking, subscribing, sharing. And these are all free ways you can help. So talking of number one, Sonny, we had an interesting evening last night. So I think, I'm just normally getting up at 6:30. My son, when he's gone out with his friends or whatever, he's just normally coming home then. So what he decided to do last night was, I'm trying to get this banner off. Hang on. Why is it not? Why can't I find it? Let me take the banner off now. There you go. Yeah, so good. Anyone would think I was a millionaire or something, because so it's like, oh yeah, let's all go back to my house and have something to eat. So I've got up this morning. It's like a parade of locusts have been through my house. It's bad enough. with number one son normally, because, you know, being a grown guy who's like 6'5" does eat quite a lot. But I had 3 people in last night. There's just nothing in my fridge. Again, it's like, oh my God. I'll never be rich. I tell you what, I'll never be rich, except if I won the lottery. So, yeah, just no. I mean, doesn't bother me, to be honest. As long as I've got some pasta, I'm normally quite happy. But they even ate all the pasta, actually. So, yeah, it was like they had a great sort of, what do they call it, cookout down in the classroom. And one of them's still here. So I won't see him till about 5 o'clock this afternoon, because they've literally only gone to bed at about 7 o'clock or something. But I thought, oh my God, you know, this is why I have to hide things. But anyway, I'm glad they just enjoyed themselves. You know, it's nice to see them enjoying themselves. It's just this shame that I always seem to end up paying for it, or some of it. Anyway, so that's bit more waffle. What else? Is there anything else that I needed to say? Right, so no, I'm ready to go now. So I'm not going to waffle anymore. I'm going to say hello to everyone. Hi, replay crew. Thank you for watching. I hope you're all having a good weekend. This is Sunday. This video is going out. So happy Sunday. Oh, happy Father's Day, because it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all of you out there that are good dads. There are lots of good dads out there. There are lots of bad dads, unfortunately, but there's lots of really good dads out there, and all kinds of shapes and sizes. You know, there's bio dads, there's step dads, there's foster dads, there's surrogate dads, there's dads to fur babies. There's people who just father figures. These are so important in our society. All these good, positive male role models. That's what we need. So happy Father's Day to all of you who fit into any of that criteria. Hope you have a great day. I hope you've been appreciated. And happy Father's Day to my dad, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but he's with me all the time in spirit. So, you know, happy birthday to him too. And my dad, you know, he wasn't only my dad and my siblings' dad. He was like the dad to most of my nieces and nephews who didn't really have reliable dads. My dad, who was actually their granddad, but he was like their father figure. So, you know, happy Heavenly Father's Day to him as well. So, yeah, so hi, lovely lurkers, hi, replay crew. And now I'm going to come into the chat and talk to, say hello to anyone who's brave enough to venture into the chat. So I don't know what the weather's like near you. Here it is 28 degrees. It's only 20 past 11 in the morning, and it's already 28 degrees. So I think you could safely say it's going to be a hot one here in Spain. For anybody who doesn't know, if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. But also, I'm based in mainland Spain. Okay, so let's see who's around. Hi, Angel. Hi, Katie. Hi, Lily. Hi, Daniel. All right, okay, you're in Australia and it's in September. Yeah, because it can be in different places. It's not in Spain, it's not Father's Day. It's British Father's Day, I think. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, it definitely is. And American Father's Day. But here in Spain, Father's Day is the day of San Jose, which is the saint of Saint Joseph is the father's saint. So, yeah, it's not Father's Day here in Spain. Hi, Michelle. Okay, so I am going to be looking at all these cases of this Irish Vanishing Triangle that I'd sort of heard about it, but I didn't really know that much about it. And then yesterday we started looking, didn't we, at the first case. Let me just get this Vanishing Triangle. Well, I say the first case, it wouldn't be the first case. in the Vanishing Triangle, likely, but it's the first case I've looked at, isn't it? And it was new to a lot of people, but not anyone in Ireland, I think, would definitely have heard of all these cases. But the one we looked at yesterday, of course, was Annie McCarrick. And there's been sort of some developments in her case. There's searches going on. And then, of course, that brought me up to see all these other ladies who unfortunately are either missing. Well, I'd already covered Josephine Jojo Dullard. But then this next one that I'm going to cover today, and there's others, is Fiona Pender. Again, a case that I hadn't heard. I've sort of seen her name sometimes. You know, High Excel. I'd seen her name, Fiona's name, sort of on various true crime sort of people that I follow, etc. In Hampshire, it's 18 degrees. Oh, that's not a bad temperature, is it? Even 15 degrees, Michelle, in Glasgow. That's got to be tap-saff weather, hasn't it? It's cold in Australia, I think, at the moment. It's freezing, isn't it? Haven't you had snow and all sorts? So, yeah. So yeah, I thought the next one I'm going to look at is Fiona Pender. So let's have a look at some photos of Fiona. A young girl again. Now Fiona as well, very sadly, when she disappeared, she was pregnant. Which is heartbreaking. So it's not only Fiona that disappeared, but her baby. You know, she never got a chance to have her baby, to experience what it was like to be a mother. I expect she was looking forward to it a lot. And this picture of her looks like with somebody's baby. Is that a baby she's holding? I thought it's a shame that Fiona, she never got the chance to hold her baby. And she's never been found. She has not been found either. So, yeah. Now, this is a very interesting case as well, because I don't know seems to be something going on in Ireland at the moment. They seem to be really trying to get on and solving some of their cold cases, because similarly to the case that we covered yesterday, I think it's only last year, Fiona's case was declared a murder case, murder investigation, rather than a missing persons investigation. And, you know, it's sort of like, sort of a good thing, obviously, in one way, because when a case is declared a murder investigation, it gets so many more resources thrown at it, doesn't it? That aren't available to the police when it's only a missing persons investigation. So upgrading Fiona's case, just the same as Annie's case, to Annie's, I think, was upgraded 2 years ago. Upgrading Fiona's case to a murder investigation is good in terms of resources for the police, but very sad for the family, of course, because that means that the police are not hoping that she's ever going to be found. They think she's dead. Having said that, the other sad thing, terribly sad thing, is really most of Fiona's family won't be, you know, if justice is found for Fiona, they're not around to see that, you know, her mum died, her dad died. We'll have a look when we go through the articles to get more details, but just, you know, very sad anyway. So the thing is Fiona part of this vanishing triangle? You know, this sort of group of women that have either been murdered or gone missing in a certain area in Ireland? Or does does the answer to Fiona's case lie much closer to home? And most suspicion has been thrown on her partner at the time, who's John Thompson. Now, John has always denied, obviously, that he had anything to do with it. He emigrated to Canada, but he got involved in some domestic disputes there with his wife there. And she has said, his wife, his current wife, or maybe they're divorced now, I don't know, but the wife that he went to Canada with has said that John told her he did it, and he showed her where Fiona was buried. But now it's, some people are casting doubt on that testimony from John's wife and saying that his wife or his current wife, ex-wife, was bitter. It was about custody battles, and she was just trying to create a slur on John's name. But he has always been a suspect from day one. But, it's that old thing called evidence, isn't it? Now, it may be that the police have some evidence now, because it seems like them, because whatever gave them the reason to upgrade it to a murder investigation, who knows? Because obviously the police aren't going to say what made them do that. But the problem is, because John is in Canada, they cannot, so I've got some lemon in there, they cannot extradite him unless they've got some good evidence to take him over to the UK to question him. And, I don't know whether they can go over there and question him, but this seems to be a stumbling block. So they need some concrete evidence. They need to find Fiona's body and that little baby that she was pregnant. And it's really struck me since I've started really doing the YouTube channel and talking about true crime. It's part of the reason, if people, some of you will know and some of you won't know, but part of the reason that I talk about true crime, and these cases especially, domestic cases of women being killed either after stalking or by their partners, is because many years ago I had an experience where I count myself lucky to be alive. Now, I'd never realised before I started covering these cases how many pregnant women are murdered. I was pregnant at the time, and you would think that nobody would hurt a pregnant woman, wouldn't you? You just can't imagine. You can't imagine anyone hurting somebody and murdering them anyway, but especially somebody who's pregnant. But that's one of the most dangerous times for a woman, is either when she's on the brink of leaving a relationship or if she's pregnant. I suppose if she's got a combination of the two, oh my God, so common for pregnant women to be murdered normally by the father of that unborn child. Chris Watts, Shannon Watts, that's one example. Who was the other guys who's been trying to get out recently, Scott, Lacey Peterson, she was another one. But there's lots, Morel Sturrock. Loads of the cases that I've covered, it turns out that the woman was pregnant when they either disappeared or were actually murdered. So I think we have to presume, after what the police have said about Fiona, that she is murdered. And that's like a double murder in my eyes. You murder somebody who's pregnant if you know that they are, and that's a double homicide, isn't it? Terrible. It's so common, so common, scarily so. So who knows why that is? I've just no idea what the reasons are. That's another video to make. What are the reasons for that? Why is it so dangerous to be a woman and be pregnant? Terrifying, really, isn't it? So anyway. So, right, so I've got sidetracked there, saying, what happens when I get sidetracked. So I just want to tell you a little bit about the background of Fiona. So she was so Annie was an only daughter, wasn't she? Annie McCarrick, that we looked at yesterday, she was the only daughter. And of course, her father now has died, but mum's still alive to hopefully eventually see justice, and we did see her mum talking in the video yesterday. I'll try and remember to link it in the description box if you didn't see the video about Annie McCarrick, who is another woman. She's not Irish, actually. She was American, but she went missing in not that far away from where this happened. She was the only daughter, Fiona. So she did have two brothers who are. So Mark died. Her brother Mark died the year before she disappeared. So I'm not sure what happened to him. It might come up as we're going through the articles, etc. So Fiona had worked as a hairdresser and as a model. She had lived in Croydon, London for a time, and then she worked in a hotel then she returned to Ireland. And at the time of her disappearance, she was living with her partner, John Thompson, in a flat in Tullamore, County Offaly, and she was 7 months pregnant. So that's a lot pregnant, isn't it? That's noticeable pregnant. Yeah. So I don't think we could say that whoever murdered her didn't know she was pregnant. I think Fiona, somebody murdered her knowing she was pregnant, which is just, even worse, isn't it? It's bad enough, but it's even worse. So this is her partner. As I say, living in Canada, married again, children. Well, I say married again. I don't think he was married to Fiona. So you can imagine when she vanished on the 23rd, well, this is supposedly when she was last seen, on the 23rd of August in 1966. That's when she was supposedly last seen at 6 a.m. by her partner at their home on Church Street, Tullamore, when he left to work on his family farm. And a friend of Fiona's visited the home later that day but did not get any answer at the door. And the following day she was reported missing by her family. Funny she wasn't reported missing by her partner, really. And then it says here, 5 days later, the Gardaí issued a national alert. 5 days later, when a pregnant woman disappears. They weren't very quick in those days, were they? I like to think that they're a bit better now, but I don't know, really. But anyway, there were lots of searches made, as you can imagine, using tracker dogs, the usual thing, helicopters. There wouldn't have been drones then, would they? But sub-aqua units, etc. And all maternity units in Ireland and the UK were notified about her disappearance, as she was pregnant at the time. But no trace of Fiona Pender or her baby have ever been found. Now, in the early part of the investigation, a local man did contact the Gardaí to say he'd seen 2 men carrying what to him looked like a rolled up carpet from Fiona's apartment on Church Street around the time when she went missing. And he said that these 2 men placed the object in the back of a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Another witness came forward to say he was nearly forced off the road by a 4-wheel drive vehicle driving at speed towards the Sliev Blue Mountains. So the Sliev Blue Mountains look very beautiful. This is it. It's very rural, these areas. There's mountains, there's woods, there's, could hide somebody easily, really. Now, however, her partner, John Thompson, he claimed to have stayed at his family's farm when she vanished. Let's just have another look at him. I mean, so I know I've got a lot of Irish followers out there. Does anybody know anything about this case? What are people's thoughts on it? Is it generally thought in Ireland, for example, that John did do it, or not? Are there other possibilities? Hi, Heather. Hope you're well. Happy Sunday. Yeah, you know, I'm sure like my Irish followers probably know more about, well, they definitely will know more about this case than I do, because I'm completely new to this case. Now, something interesting that happened. Now, his sisters and their father were all arrested for questioning in April 1997, but they were released without charge. So he's never been charged, but he has been identified as a suspect. And Fiona has been included in this Operation Trace by the Irish police, which is an inquiry into a number of high-profile disappearances of women, all in the 1990s. And this is what has led some people to believe, is it the work of more than, you know, of one person? Is there like a serial killer out there? Now, an interesting thing that happened in May 2008, let's take his picture off and have a look at some pictures of Fiona. Yeah, terrible, isn't it, to have your life just taken away from you like that? And especially, I expect she was very excited, you know, to be having a baby. Very sad. Where was I? Gosh, sorry, I've just gone onto the wrong. Let me put some windows down, and then I can find where I am quicker. There I am. So yeah, an interesting thing happened in May 2008, because a makeshift cross was found in the woods in the Sliev Bloom Mountains, and on this cross it read, "Fiona Pender, buried here, August the 22nd, 1996." Now that was a very hot summer that year. And I'll tell you, I remember that because I was about 8 months pregnant myself at the time. And it was boiling. It was so hot. I remember I went to my niece's wedding and I had to just go home in the end and sit in a bath of cold water. I was like a hippo in this bath because, you know, I was so big. It was so hot. And you know what, I was in Manchester at the time for this wedding, and you know what it's like in the UK, you know, houses are not designed for hot weather, are they? No fans, no air conditioning, or certainly not then. It was so hot that year. I remember that clearly. So they then searched. I wonder if I can get a picture of the cross up. Can't see a photo of it anywhere. You'd think there would be a photo of it. Anyway, this cross was found, saying she was, so the police did search there. They did search there and nothing was found. Must be a photo somewhere. No, nothing's coming up. No. Nothing's coming up, but there must be one somewhere, I suppose. Anyway, I can't find it at the moment. So yeah, makeshift cross was found. Now, although the police did not find anything there when they searched, It says the Gardaí say they do not believe it was a hoax. So they must, for whatever reason, they must believe that it's true. And they noted that the cross stated that Fiona was buried on the 22nd, but her last reported sighting was the 23rd, which was the morning that her partner said he last saw her. Now, he went off abroad, as I say, he went to Canada, and he was arrested while he was in Canada, in Saskatoon, in Canada, for sex assaulting and threatening to kill his wife. And his wife was supposedly cooperating with the police. She said he did it. He said to her, do you want to end up the same as Fiona? Like, I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. But of course, it's his word against hers, isn't it? So, so again, more searches were made in forests, etc. But still, Fiona remains unfound. She has not been found. So, which is very sad, isn't it? So there have been lots of, so in early 2025, only this year, her disappearance was upgraded to a murder investigation, and the Gardaí began searches in an area of farmland close to Killy village. Even drones were not allowed to go over, and they began searching. They searched in quite a few places, even places that had been searched before, but nothing still has been found. So, what do you think? Do you think they're ever going to find Fiona? I mean, you can't say they haven't tried. Every time they've had a bit of a clue to go by, the Gardaí have gone out there and tried. But anyway, so apparently, this is reported by sources. Investigating officers still believe that their original prime suspect, which I'm presuming is her ex-partner, was responsible for Fiona's disappearance. But he has been living abroad in self-imposed exile for over 10 years, and authorities cannot seek his extradition without firm evidence of his involvement in her death. So really, it's how it feels. It feels like the Gardaí, they've just got to get lucky, haven't they, with finding her body, with finding some evidence. They've tried and they've not found, but we know where it's like from other cases that we've covered. When you're searching for remains, you literally could be like 10 inches from where the remains are, and you just don't hit that right spot. So difficult, isn't it? But so important to find remains, especially in these days of DNA evidence, etc. Even though Fiona's remains have been there a long time, apart from just the fact it will be proof that she is in fact deceased, along with her baby. It's just a start. There must be some DNA evidence, some evidence. So although you can prosecute someone for murder without a body, it is, of course, helps a lot if you have the body. So I've got an article here, I think, that I was going to read out to you. Now, this is a recent article in the Sunday World, which I know is a little bit of it's a bit like the News of the World, isn't it? Like, it's a bit of a rag, but it has quite a lot of, information in it. So he apparently, in Canada, this guy, he sought damages over false assault claims, because it's important to say that those claims that his wife in Canada put in against him, he was cleared of all charges. So it will be one of those, it's his word against hers, won't it? So why they didn't believe her, or maybe she was lying. You know, at the end of the day, women aren't above doing some lying as well, are they? And if she knew that he'd been accused of murdering his partner or suspected of murdering his partner in Ireland, he's a bit of an easy target as well, isn't he? You know, because it'd be like, well, oh yeah, well, he's, you know, he's under suspicion for this. And now he's done it to me as well. You know, so it would be an easy, a sort of a bit of a soft target, if you like, if she wanted the custody of the children. So it could be that he's completely innocent of both things. Having said that, you've got to wonder, why did he go all the way to Canada? But then people do, don't they? Why did I come to Spain? Mind you, you do come for a reason. I come here to get away from a situation as well. You normally move, unless you're retired and you've always planned to sort of go and live in the sun or whatever. Really, I think normally, somebody once said to me years ago, and I think it's true, people who come to Spain, they're getting away from something. It don't mean crime. I'm not necessarily talking about, I didn't leave the UK to escape committing a crime, but I did leave to escape a situation that I didn't feel comfortable with. Maybe that's a reason that people do it, because, you know, I was only in my 30s when I came here. Very early 30s. So, yeah. People normally do things for a reason. I wonder what his reason was that he said he went to Canada. Anyway, so he took this case after his wife said he sex assaulted her. And he then sued the Canadian police 9 years ago, apparently, after he was cleared of assaulting his wife. So he's originally from Grange, Killay, County Laos. Sorry, I've probably butchered that pronunciation. And he emigrated to Saskatchewan, I've probably butchered that as well, in Canada with his wife in the 2000s. And he claimed the sex assault prosecution was malicious and rose out of a desire for recognition in helping the Gardaí solve Fiona's disappearance. And legal papers obtained by this newspaper, that's the Sunday World, showed that Thompson, 49, you know, so he's still young, isn't he? And Fiona would still have been young. He robbed that life from her. Well, I'm not saying he did, but someone did. So he sought damages, including €13,700. It says euros here. I don't know if they were euros or not. I don't know. You have dollars in Canada, don't you? For interruption to his work, €68,000 for suffering and injury to his reputation, and €43,000 in legal related fees. So in 2014, his wife told police in Saskatchewan, that he had made threats against her and made admissions in relation to Fiona's disappearance. And according to court documents obtained by the Sunday World, when his wife first went to authorities in Saskatoon, she provided a pre-written statement to police claiming she was concerned for her safety and that of her children. Now, it wouldn't be the first time that a wife who was trying to get custody of her children or trying to stop her husband having custody of the children lied. I mean, you know, it does happen. The women do lie, just the same as men do. But whether she did in this case, I don't know. She told officers that Thompson was a suspect of his then girlfriend Fiona in Ireland, and she was now afraid this might happen to her. Now, I am a little bit thinking about that because, you know, I tell you what, if my husband said to me, oh yeah, I killed my girlfriend, you know, years ago, my pregnant girlfriend, if he claimed to me that he'd done that, I wouldn't say anything at the time. Of course you wouldn't, be bloody terrified. But the very first opportunity you got where you were on your own, You'd down the police station. Well, I would be. Think I would stay quiet when somebody told me that they'd murdered another woman, a pregnant woman at that? Of course you wouldn't. You know, you'd stay quiet. What reminds me a bit of like with the Moors murderers and when they killed that last guy, the poor young lad Edward Evans, and David, Myra Hindley's brother-in-law. He was there when that poor boy was murdered. Now, obviously, he's not going to say anything to Ian Brady as he's murdering this guy because Ian Brady's a psychopath. You know, it's like you've got to, but to get out. But he went straight to the police after. That's what you do. As soon as you got a chance, you'd be straight to the police and say, hey, so that doesn't help her credibility, does it, that she didn't say it immediately? Now she's testified, or 9-10 years ago she did, but she should have said it right at the time, shouldn't she? Look at this terrain. Gosh. So during a 4-day court hearing, she testified he had told her, you know that I've done it before, they'll never find you. Is that what you want? Now, he may well have said that to her. That development sparked a high-profile but ultimately unsuccessful new search for Fiona's remains in 2015. Maybe she did go immediately to the police. Anyway, in acquitting Thompson of all the criminal charges against him, the judge at his trial in Saskatoon said his wife had likely fabricated the SEX. This is the judge. And threat allegations to influence a custody battle over their 2 children. You know, there's only one thing worse than somebody actually doing those horrible things. Someone is somebody lying and making it up that someone's done it to them, because that stops, you know, women in the future getting their credibility. You know, women who lie about those things. I'm not saying she did. I don't know, because only she knows that. And him, of course. But in his statement of claim, Thompson alleged that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who investigated his wife's allegations, and the Crown prosecutor at his trial were malicious, high-handed and oppressive in their handling of the case. He claimed they ignored inconsistencies in different statements by the complainant, and that police officers used leading and coercive techniques to influence her testimony in court. And Mr. Thompson claimed he suffered from losses related to interruption of work during his time in jail. Look, if he's not guilty, he deserves compensation, doesn't he, really? But it's so difficult in these cases when it's one person's word against another. It's unusual for them not to believe the woman, so it makes you wonder, why did they not believe her? Anyway, so yeah, he suffered losses related to interruption of work during his time in jail and at trial, bodily and psychological suffering, injury to his reputation, and the financial costs of getting bail and hiring a lawyer to defend himself against the false charges. He has long been considered the chief suspect in Fiona's disappearance in 1996. And he was the last person to have acknowledged visiting with her at the apartment prior to her disappearance. And speaking after he was quizzed in connection with the case in 1997, he criticised the Gardaí for arresting him and members of his family. Oi, bless me. He criticised Gardaí, saying they had not taken sufficient action and did not act quickly enough in their search for the missing woman. And Mr. Thompson, who was then aged 24, said he did not want to be seen to be giving the guards the fingers, but the fact remained his pregnant partner was still missing. They will tell you that they searched high and low, but they did 2 searches on this farm, and there is a well outside the door, and that was never searched, he claimed at the time. He said a slurry tank on the farm was also never searched. Bless. You just feel like she's sort of looking out, when you see these victims. She's like crying out to be found, isn't she, for her and her baby to be found? I mean, look, they'll be whizzing around the universe now, in heaven or in the arms of Jesus. I mean, I really do believe that. But I do think, they pass on to, a nicer place, if you like, or a better place. But really, she was still robbed and cheated of the time that she should have been here with her baby and watched her baby growing up, etc. And that baby was robbed completely of a life. But I do feel, even though I believe that people could, you can pray to people wherever they're buried. Like, I don't feel that I have to go and see where my dad's ashes are to pay my respect. But there's something, you can pay your respect anywhere, but there's something about, this is the oldest, one of the oldest rituals we have as human beings, isn't it? You're born, you live, and then you die. And there's every culture, there's a mark of respect to people when they die, of putting their remains to rest. And it's like she's looking out to be found, calling out to be found, bless her. That's how I feel when I look at her, and when I look at a lot of these missing people. They're calling out to be found. They deserve to be found. How is he sleep if it is him? Or, the thing is, serial killers, they don't have regrets, remorse. If this had been a serial killer that had taken this lady, then they don't have any remorse. They're not going to be sat up at night thinking, oh, poor Fiona, I should put her poor family or anything like that. Psychopaths don't think that. But if it's her partner who's done it, you would imagine, or you would hope, that mentally, that they would feel remorse. Maybe not enough remorse to actually come out and say where she is or confess, but surely when he goes to bed at night and he closes his eyes, or when it comes to the day of reckoning for him, what will be going through his mind? Surely he would feel remorse. But so he says, at the end of the day, Fiona is still out there somewhere, and it is their job to find her. I just want to highlight the fact she's still missing. So this is what her ex-partner says. And you know what? He could be completely innocent. Sometimes the police do fix on the partner, don't they? Because statistically, it's a statistic, it's a fact. Normally it is the partner. More time, 9 times out of 10, the partner or someone close to them is involved. But not always, is it? I mean, she may have been abducted by a serial killer. So he said he'd been going out with Miss Pender for 3 years and they'd been living together for a year. And he said that the Gardaí have no evidence against him and his family, and he took a dim view of the arrests. It's just not good enough for them to suggest that we disposed of her and then leave it at that. So it seemed like the Gardaí were, they arrested his family as well, not just him. So he says when he last saw Fiona in their flat on Church Street on August the 23rd, 1996, that's when he last saw her, when he left for work at 6 a.m. He said she could not have disappeared from a busy town without being seen by someone. He says, I feel that someone might have seen something, but he's afraid. And he said he was appealing for anyone who could help to come forward. He said rumours that his family, which is Church of Ireland, were against his relationship with Miss Pender because she was a Catholic were not even worthy of comment, but I deny it. Now, I don't know what it was like in 1996. I know that when my mum and dad got married, my mum was Protestant, my dad was Catholic, and his family just, didn't like it at all. And perhaps my mum's family didn't. That was a different time. That was, many, many years ago when it did matter more. And that was in England. We lived in England, in Manchester, or they lived in Manchester. But I think my dad is like second generation. I think his parents were Irish immigrants to Manchester. And my mum's descent is Scottish. So she's Protestant. She was Protestant. My dad was Catholic. And I know there was, it's just family folklore, if you like, the problems between the families because of the religion. So religion did used to make a difference. Whether it still made a difference in 1996, I don't know. So 2 searches were carried out in connection with Fiona's disappearance earlier this week. The first was undertaken at a location in Grey Killy near Tullamore and finished on Tuesday evening. And the second began on Wednesday close to Clonnersley. Is that County Layot? I don't know how that's supposed to be pronounced. In the Sleeve Bloom Mountains, and continued overnight into Thursday. And the results of the searches are not being released for operational reasons. And detectives have believed from an early stage that Fiona was murdered, but it's only just been upgraded. And that was just at the beginning of June, following a review of investigation files and uncovering of new information. So there you go. That's poor Fiona and her unborn child. What happened to them? So, as we always say, one thing we do know, 100% certain, is somebody killed Fiona. She didn't do it herself. She didn't do it to herself, did she? Somebody did it to her. Yeah. So that is what we know so far in this case of Fiona Pender, who is just another one of this vanishing triangle in Ireland. Now, is there a killer, like a serial killer? Or, for example, with Fiona and also with Annie, does the answer lie closer at home? Annie was thought to have been, because somebody was actually arrested for Annie's murder, but they've been released without charge. And with Fiona, I don't think anyone's ever been maybe arrested earlier on in the case. But of course, this guy is now in Canada, and the police are only going to be able to bring him over if they actually find something, something concrete, if you like. Hopefully, to find Fiona. That's the ideal thing. Hey. Hi, so Lily Paul is same thing with your mum and dad. I just remember they married in 1966. Oh, my mum and dad married, God, don't even know, but wasn't that long after the war, I don't think. So maybe 19, I don't know, is the answer to that. I don't know the exact date that they got married, but it was a lot, might have been in the 50s, late 40s. It was just after the war. It won't have been long after the war. My mum was only 19. I think my dad was 24. And, my dad's family did not like my mum because also they had to get married. My mum was with child, my brother Tony. So that didn't go down well, you can imagine, in a Catholic family. So, my dad's family were very anti my mum. She was a little bit of a one, if you like. I think I might have said it on other streams, because what happened was during the war, my dad was in the Navy and he was stationed abroad. And my mum lived next to my dad's family. They were next door neighbours. And of course, my mum sort of, not sure how old she would have been then. She's probably 16, 17, having a great time with the GIs. And my dad's family saw that, because they'd see her kissing one at the door, or, because they lived in like this terrace street. So they knew that my mum was enjoying herself with the GIs. So, and then when my dad came out of, he had to be discharged. He had some illness. And I think he was actually on his way home when the victory celebration started. And then, he met my mum and they started going out together. And then she got pregnant and then they had to get married. So you can imagine that didn't go down very well with my dad's family. And also because not only they were Catholics, but they're very puritanical, real old-fashioned, very, very puritanical. Like, that was the time, talk about the late 40s, 50s, people were puritanical then, or a lot of people were. So anyway, I just remember my mum, they got married in a Catholic church, and my mum complained because it was all in Latin and she didn't understand any of it. And then I don't know what happened afterwards. Could write a book about my mum and dad's relationship, really. It wasn't, they stayed together right till the end. They were married over 50 years, but it wasn't all plain sailing. And we still don't know the full story of everything. But yeah, I forgot so we were brought up as Protestants. Though I do remember going to Sunday school and things like that, but we never went to a Catholic school. We went to a Protestant school. So I don't know why that was. I don't know all the ins and outs of what happened then, but yeah, it was a different life then. Religion mattered a lot more. I'm sure it still does matter a lot, even these days. After, even though the Troubles technically in Northern Ireland, for example, they've finished, but I expect there's still, it doesn't just change overnight. It takes generations for those kind of things to subside. And of course, there's been all the scandal about the Catholic Church and priests and this, that, and the other. So we'll see what happens in the future. But anyway, so that's what we know so far about Fiona. Thank you for caring about Fiona. I'm just going to put up some pictures of her again before we go. I just hope to God sooner or later Fiona is found and put to rest respectfully. So I would imagine her two, she had two brothers. One brother died the year before her. Has she only got one remaining brother now? Because I think, but let's have a look. Gosh. Because the other thing that changes over years, of course, is, she's only got a youngest brother, John. So her mother, Josephine, passed away in 2017. And her father, very sadly, her father, Sean, he deleted himself after losing, because he didn't only lose Fiona, but their son, Mark, also died in a motorcycle accident a year before Fiona disappeared. Some families are really just seem to be so overcome by tragedy, don't they? Most families experience some kind of tragedy at some point, I suppose. But some families just never seems to end, does it? So anyway, apparently in 2017, let's see if I can find a picture of her brother. Sorry, I can see, I'm looking for a picture of her brother. No, there's no photo there. I'm going to read this article, actually. This is an article from the Irish Independent. I'm just going to read it because it's important, I think. This was a picture of Fiona just before her disappearance. You can see she's got a significant baby bump, as you would at 7 months pregnant. Oh, there he is, a brother, yeah. So the only surviving brother of missing Fiona also shares for the first time a letter written by his mother to Fiona. My mother and father both died of a broken heart. He said as he called, gosh, he's the only person left in this family, this poor guy. He lost his brother, his sister. So this is it, the mother Josephine at this monument. That's a lovely monument, actually. That is a beautiful monument. And this is a letter that was written to Fiona by the mother. So he spoke of his mother's hope for the chief suspect to be brought to justice. And her mother Josephine, who was a staunch campaigner for missing persons, died almost 2 weeks ago at the age of 68. So when was that? That was in 2017. And he said, her brother John has said he will continue to search. I'm now calling for a full Garda review and or a cold case review. Well, they are looking into it, so that's good. And he says there is only one chief suspect in the disappearance and that has never changed. So that is the guy that we've just been talking about. And so he seems to believe the guy's wife. Is that a baby there? I can't work out what that is there. Anybody know what this is in this picture? At first, when I first saw it, I thought that she was holding a baby, but I don't know now. So my mother passed away from natural causes, but I've only been able to say goodbye to one family member, which was my mother. The torch has been passed to me to find my sister. Oh. My mother was a hero. She never gave up or gave in looking for my sister. In the face of such heartache, my mother kept fighting, kept hoping, and kept searching for Fiona right up till the end. And in the heartbreaking letter, Josephine addressed her daughter directly. When we lost your brother Mark on the 12th of June 1995, you said to me, nothing worse can happen to us now, ma'am. We did not know then that 14 months later we would lose you and your baby. And your dad on the 31st of March 2000 from a broken heart after losing his children. When I lost you, Fee, my firstborn, my beautiful only daughter, I lost my best friend with whom I could discuss anything, my shopping companion. Oh, you had such a flair for fashion. Oh, the shoes and handbags we could have bought together, Fee. Josephine, who was deeply religious, wrote that her daughter was now in heaven and begged her to help them find her and her baby. Emma and I have searched far and wide trying to find you and will never give up until we do. And she continued, I hope you are in the light, Fee, as I know you did not like the dark. I also hope your feet are warm. Oh, how I long to rub them for you as we did when they were cold. Well, I hope she's rubbing her feet there now in heaven. I greatly regret not being able to help you on the birth of your baby, my grandchild. My heart and my arms ache. never to have been able to hold and look at your baby. And I'll tell you what, whoever's done this to Fiona, they could read this letter. How could it not stir your heart? I mean, there definitely has got to be something wrong with you if that could not, you know, make you at least want to come clean and say what you've done. Dear me. Okay, so that's the story of Fiona. And let's hope that all these, not only with Fiona's case, but, you know, they do seem to be, just get this impression that they're trying to make a big effort, trying to find these missing people. Seems to be a lot of developments lately, wasn't there? You know, searches like with Jojo, and then with Annie, and then with Fiona. And then, of course, there's Kyron, the little boy who's missing. You know, they are trying to find these people. Just that, I suppose, just hope for some news on one of these cases. That all this effort that's going into trying to find these people is rewarded one way or another. Okay, so let me know what you think, as always, about this case. Do you believe the guy, the ex-partner, says nothing to do with him? Do you believe him? Or do you feel that maybe it is something to do with him? But as I say, the thing that we do know is this girl, Fiona, she disappeared. Disappeared without a trace, along with her baby. Somebody knows what happened to her, because she didn't take herself off and bury herself in the mountains, did she? Or do whatever. I love that picture of her, actually. That's a beautiful picture. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Fiona and all the other people that we talk about. I just feel at the moment I've got so many things. I'm sorry I haven't done like a Sunday service, which I'd like to do, but I just haven't got enough hours in the day for the cases that I want to talk about. I've got to sort of, you know, I know I can't do every case at the time when I want to do it, but I've got, as I say, a list, so many cases to talk about. I've got to decide, you know, between what to do and what not to do. But these are important. I mean, these, especially missing people, I think, are ultra important. Even the cases that have been solved, I was thinking about that. I mean, some cases that we talk about, the person has been brought to justice, the person who did it, but they're still important to talk about, because names, these people's names should not be forgotten, should they? You know, they lived and they mattered, and they matter now just as much as before, whether it's solved or not solved. And if it was our loved one, we would want our loved one to be, we'd want ourselves to be remembered, and we'd want our loved one to be remembered, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking that of that, Angel, maybe doing one a month at the end of the month. Yeah. Honestly, it's like, yeah, because otherwise it can feel like everything's bad news, and not everything is bad news, is it? So, yeah. Okay, then. So, listen, thank you so much for being with me. I'm hoping to be back later on today, probably talking about another case, not a Sunday service. But hopefully I'll be back later. It's just so hot at the moment, as well as the day goes on. I don't have a lot of energy, but I'm hoping to be back later on today. So, but anyway, take care. Virtual hugs. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for caring about these people. And thank you for caring about me like I care about you. Thank you so much. See you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Thank you.